Good afternoon, mech warriors, mech techs, and nobles in hiding. We're back. It's another day. The sun is, I was going to say shining, but that's a lie. The sun is overcast. But we're here. And we're going to do some pretty cool stuff today. And what are we going to do? Well, for starters, we're going to hook up IntelliJ because we appear to have gone into the void. Ugh, the void. We hate it here. There we go. So today we are going to be working on a small update to personnel character sheets. Now you'll know these character sheets are the ones that appear on the right hand side when you are viewing personnel in the personnel tab, for example. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a new class called MekHQ Collapsible Panel. Now this is a special new class that has been made specifically for the redesign of campaign options, and that's coming later this version, so later in 51.01. And I've just realized I haven't put my headphones on, which means my music is coming through my microphone and through my speakers. Bear with me just 2 seconds. Whoops-a-doodles. Let me just quickly fix all that. Terribly sorry. I am terrible at this. There we go. I thought my music sounded different. Okay, so yeah, so this is part of the campaign options remake that's being done right now to just improve the visual clarity of campaign options and to make it a lot easier to use. But how is everybody? I hope you're all good. We do have a update on Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear has finally pooped. I know you're all waiting, eager to know that. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a monkey paw situation. Mr. Bear has pooped. Hooray. But unfortunately, Mr. Bear won't stop pooping. Ook asks, does Bear shit in the woods? The answer is no, he shits in my living room. We have yet to get him to poop outside. Outside is scary, he says. So he's pooping in the living room instead. I mean, on one hand, I am glad he is pooping again. That is very, very good. We gave him some pumpkin, and we also gave him some other treats. And that seems to have made a bit of a difference. But unfortunately now, the poor lad is all tuckered out. He pooped himself back to sleep. Both him and Tiger are asleep on the bed behind me right now. But yeah, so MekHQ's campaign options are getting a really nice, sexy remake. I should actually be able to show that to you guys later on the stream. But for now, we're just going to steal this, and we're going to see what we can do with it. So, first things first, we're going to need to... Oh, I don't want to do that. First things first, we're going to want to convert this over. So what we're doing is we're going to see whether we can replace the personnel logs with this, for starters. So this is one I'm simply not familiar with. So we're kind of just looking through, seeing how it all works. But that's fun, isn't it? Like we are exploring something that somebody else has done, and I'm just really, really happy that we are now getting we're now getting work done by other contributors that I'm able to incorporate into my own stuff. So good old get text at. I'm going to want the title. Hi, Mr. Bandit. No, you can't go into the closet. We don't live in Texas. You don't have to live in the closet. Bandit is currently very upset that I won't let him into my wife's closet. Let's see. Here. He's very forlorn. I don't know if his microphone's picking him up. Radar posting bandit pics, which I need to bug my artists to find out when they are intending to actually finish that. So how are we controlling? We don't need these anymore. But how are we controlling this? Is expanded. There we go. Set expanded. That's what we want. Bandit really does want into the closet. A closed door is a challenge to him. We're going to have to cat-proof a bunch of our like drawers in the kitchen because Bandit's already worked out how to get into them. So I know I can pass a component in. So I'm going to try. What happens if we pass this in? We're not going to need these mouse listeners anymore. Okay, so let's boot up the Scritorious Bastards and we'll just see whether this does what we want it to do. Oh. Oh, I see what we're doing. God darn it. Why can't we just do it normally? So we don't want this anymore. He's now moved to a different part of the household and is screaming there instead. Okay, how about, rather than working on the logs, let's try something a little bit simpler first. So I kind of just want to get a sense of how this class works. So let's try attribute scores. Ooh, comments that Bandit's doing the old, if parent 1 won't do it, maybe parent 2 will fall for it. So my wife's currently at work, so he will just have to be forlorn. So sad. How are we doing this? Okay, let's copy that and revert. As you can probably tell, I'm feeling a little bit less sleepy today. Aha. Aha, aha, aha. There we go. Okay, now let's boot up the Scritorious Bastards for reals this time and see what happens. Radar comments that they're in the middle of a dropship defense and the rebels fought 2 riflemen free ends as a threat to a union. You have to admire the courage on those rifleman pilots though. And here's the thing, not every dropship defense is the op for trying to kill the dropship. So it could well be that the op 4 is just trying to drive the dropship away and prevent whatever landing is occurring. Radar says courage is a very strong word. Yeah, no, I get that. Also, Scritorious Bastards tomorrow. We'll be having our Scritorious Bastards stream in the evening. I am, as always, very excited. Not as excited as I am for Chinese takeaway dinner tonight. Nom, 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 nom. Very excited for that. There we go. Okay, let's boot up this Scotorious Bastard so I know they'll have some attributes. Knight's glad to join us tonight. Knight says that back in the late 2400s they used AC2 carriers to kill dropships nice and slow. I mean, as we've proven on the Scotorious Bastards, like, if you can get the dropship at range and just plink them, you will kill the dropship. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do is retain the J panel. Yeah, okay, so this isn't quite working, but that's okay. It's advanced A because I want to be able to reuse this. Yeah, go away. Radar says their best answer to the dropshippers has been artillery. Yeah, artillery is definitely the one what you want to do, really. Something isn't right here. I think we need to look at this a different direction. Fill attribute modifiers isn't what we're looking for. We want fill out. Okay, I see. So we have two different routes to get the same thing. Now I understand. Now I see what we're doing here. Lots of scrolling back and forth. We'll do this properly. There we are. And now if I pass in the panel, that should be good. So we'll go ahead and do the other as well. I can hear Bandit now leaping from box to box. Awesome. Okay, let's launch MekHQ and see what happens. While we're waiting for MekHQ to launch, I'm going to be right back. I just want to quickly go and make sure Bandit's not getting into any of the boxes that he's not meant to get into. And I'm back, and so is Bandit. Hi, Bandit. Okay, we're going into the void, so I quickly switch you guys over to MekHQ. Ooh, wrong screen. There we go. Okay, let's load up the campaign we were just in. Knight's saying that they started in 2450 and their current campaign is now in 2472. Knight is infamous for very long campaigns. Okay. So this is working. My only thing is I would really rather the attribute modifiers was on the left, not the right. Let's see if I can figure this out. Bandit, what is your major malfunction today? He doesn't know. Okay. So it looks like it might actually be able to center it. I just need to remember exactly how. There we go. Let us see if this works. So what I've done is I'll show you quickly in IntelliJ, is we've just gone ahead and center aligned the text, and we're going to now see if that works as we want. Radar says they're hoping after this Card of Duty contract is over, they can go buy their first dropship. Very exciting, very exciting. A big moment for any mercenary. You guys are all talking about your early starts, and we had to set the big warning saying the earliest start we support is there, 2450, I believe, specifically because we were constantly getting people asking, oh, hey, what's the earliest I can start? And then we would tell them, and they would go, and then they would tell them like, oh, yeah, so around 2450 is the best start. And then they would immediately go, okay, I'm starting in 2006. And then complain when it didn't work. It was a time. Okay, so it's not passing HTML. That is fine. It also occurs to me we don't want it center aligned, we actually want it left. Derp. Okay. Bandit. My bed is not your scratching post. Oh, he is very upset because he's now realized that this is where he lives now. And he's upset because none of his stuff is here. You grumpus? You are? You a grumpy little grump pants? He says yes. He says yes, he's a grumpy little grump pants. My other cat, Arya, is still continuing her 5 or 6 a.m. screaming hour. So I've not been, in addition to moving time zone, in addition to moving, I've not been sleeping well because my cat just keeps waking me up by just going around the house screaming. Okay, let's have a look. How are we doing? It's gone entirely. That's not good. Now we have no label whatsoever. Huh. Give me 2 ticks. I'm just going to check to make sure that this is correct. Aha. 'Twas not correct. Okay, let's try one more time. Knight says that they liked the 2472 era. They started with a vehicle company, could only do in-house mech warrior training. But when I finally got a company from the Terran hegemony, I was the only one on the field with mechs for a couple of decades. Yeah, no, I am a big fan of Age of War. And the 2450, like early start, that's actually based on my own like campaigns and research. That was the earliest I found where you could still play MekHQ and all the systems would reasonably work. Ook, I missed their message earlier, says with the ability to split forces, they're going to need to dust off their clan wolf toe. Oh, that's very cool. I will. So it is very, very cool that we are getting split forces. I do need you to all be aware that 51.0 is going to be a very, very buggy release. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to accept that we can't left align it, and I am going to do this, and then I'm going to go back to the author of MekHQ collapsible panel and just ask them to take a look at how we can do aligning. But rather than wasting all our time on that now, I will do that later. But yeah, so this is giving us our template, really. So now what we want to do is go and find the others. I feel like awards are something that we want to have on display. Okay, so that should have skills handled, because that's used by all the types of skills. We'll do abilities in a second. Let's just boot up MekHQ and make sure this is working. I'm also going to grab some water. My wife went shopping yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, Illiani's real name. Would you like a treat?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I will." I was like, "Oh yeah, I could really do with a bar of chocolate or maybe some ice cream, you know, a treat." And then my wife goes to this grocery store, and she comes back with my treat, which was a collection of spices so that our cooking wasn't so goddamn bland. Which In her defense, is exactly what I've been asking her to get me for a while now, because since we moved in, we didn't bring any of my spice collection with me, and so my cooking has been fucking miserable. So now I have salt, I have pepper, and I have a few other like emergency goodies. Not anything particularly exciting, but just enough to kind of keep me going, and so that my cooking will actually be nice and pleasant now. Okay. I feel like this really needs a pane. I'm not sure I like this exactly how we've got it here. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go back and we're going to make a slight change. And we can do that change just by going in here and just rolling back a couple of changes that we made. And we're not actually rolling them back per se. We're just slapping in this is coming back. But we don't want the label this time. There we go. Okay. And we just need to do this in skills. And we need to do that here as well. I must have missed it when skills. Where are the skills? Interesting. Oh, fill skills. This is what we're looking for. Oh, no, we've done it in skills. Okay, so let's boot back up MekHQ and see if this is going to make it a little bit more visually dynamic. So here's a fun fact. So I'll show you actually when we get into MekHQ. It's just booting up now. But so this component, the MekHQ collapsible panel, is a better version of a system I'd made previously. So if I go into personnel, not briefing room. Oh yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, this is the new briefing room. See how sexy it is. It's now in Technicolor. Ooh, Technicolor. Ah. In theory, if I scootle here, there should be another. Yeah, what about go away? I might need to advance day. There we go. So now, because I'm actually on the planet, it will show the timeline. So it'll show you how far we've got left of the contract. So this shows us that we're about a little under halfway to till the end of the contract. We've got 90 days left. So this is going to be a really nice bit of quality of life, I feel. But back to personnel. Okay, so this is looking a bit more like it. Yeah, we can work with this. So the goal here is just to try and compress the amount of information you're seeing at one time. So say, for example, you have a character where you're like, okay, professional skills, utility skills, I care about those, but I don't really care about attribute modifiers or roleplay skills. So you can just compress those and it's going to take up less space as opposed to this, where it's taking up half the tab. And funnily enough, this is actually, I'm glad Knight's in chat because this is inspired by literally a message they put on the Discord yesterday. And we're going to be adding in some stuff later to specifically allow MekHQ to remember your settings. So right now, if I click on Margarita Fajita and then back onto Klaus, you'll see how it's expanded again. We'll do that one more time. Some Kaufman, Klaus expanded. But what we're going to do, we are actually going to set it up so that each character remembers whether you have attribute modifiers expanded or compressed, and so forth and so forth. But here's the old version. So this is how it used to work. So you click on it, it compresses, it hides. But what we're actually doing here is we're not compressing and hiding. Ook says they hate the center alignment. I do too. I'm going to be speaking to the author of the collapsible panels and seeing how we can get it so it's not center aligned. Because yeah, no, the center alignment looks really bad. But no, this will be left aligned before you guys. And the indentation of the subpanel. Yeah, these are things I can talk about. I'm not as fussed about the indentation of the subpanel, because they're all going to be indented. It only looks gross now because the ones down here aren't indented. And it is also possible that once these are merged into this, the indentation will be lost. I don't know. But it's something I can talk to the author about, because I haven't made this component. This is not an IllianiDev special. This is made by another member of the team. So, and this is the first time it is being used out of the currently in progress rewrite of campaign options. So there's going to be stuff that we're not happy with that needs to be updated. But again, though, these will be left aligned before you guys get your hands on it. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so yeah, basically you're not going to need to expand or contract attribute modifiers every time. You just go, okay, well, what do I want to show on this character? I want profession skills, I want utility skills, don't care about the rest. And then you're only going to see those. But looks like traits and mix. So we now know this is working. This is working nicely. I feel like medals and awards I wasn't going to, but I am going to go ahead and add the collapsible to that as well. So that's the portrait one. So set portrait, fill info. Ah, here we go. Not portrait we want, it is panel. It's in here. Panel all awards. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's break this out. So I don't need that anymore. And there's our key. Okay. Oh, Knight, I think when Psychatic's asking what edition, they mean what version of MekHQ. Okay, so that should be good. So now let's jump into MekHQ and see if everything's working. Just waiting for MekHQ to boot up. And the reason why I'm jumping on this is I was up until very late last night trying to get the contract stuff working how I want it to. And I just needed something lighter to take my brain off things, because I need to basically flatten the loading and saving of every contract type away from how it currently is, which is the loading of contracts is broken across 3 different classes. And it's really hard to work with. Okay, yeah, this works. So again, imagine that medals and awards is left aligned, not right. I say that I might roll back medals and awards. I'm not sure I like that. At the same time, I think how it is right now does work. We'll leave it. We'll leave it as this, and then we'll see how it all works out. Okay, we're just going to go through and continue rolling these out amongst the other ones, and then we'll see how it looks. Again, imagining that these are left aligned, not center aligned. Traits and mixed are next. Oh, abilities. That's something we want to MekHQ. It's Lil Willy, good morning. Good morning to you too, it's Lil Willy. Radar says, I think I prefer having medals on display. So remember that you are going to be able to expand and contract these as much as you want. And you'll be able to set default values as well. So if you want to always have your medals on display, you can. So this isn't being forced to hide them. You are going to have the option. Italy Willia says, speaking on RP versus professional skills, is there an option to turn on RP skills? Yes, it says that absolutely is. I will show you the next time we're in MekHQ. They should be on by default. So if you're using the veteran preset or even the new player preset, you will have access to the RP skills. Right now, if you have them turned off, you'll need to do some extra steps. Literally says, sorry to interrupt. Oh, no, you're not interrupting. If I didn't want to interact with people, I wouldn't be streaming. What's the bet? This isn't right. Okay. Looks like I've got some errors we need to resolve. Okay, let's boot up MekHQ and then I can show its little willy where to turn on RPG skills, and I can also test to make sure everything's working. Wait for MekHQ to boot up. There we are. So this is already taking up a lot more room than it did previously. I don't think this is working. I think this is taking up too much space. Let's try a different route. So we're gonna let's leave it as is for now. We're gonna try one more thing before we take a back step and try a different approach. Because right now this is just taking up too much space. So just booting up campaign options so I can show its little willy how to turn on what's the word? Roleplay skills. So go to human resources. Would it be human resources? No, it'll be advancement, awards and randomization, and roleplay skills. If it's disabled, this will be -12, but the recommended value is -8. So campaign options, advancement, awards, randomization, and just set roleplay skills to something other than -12. Okay, so we're heading back into IntelliJ. Let's try this a different route. I want to see, is the problem the borders? Okay, let's see here. So it's looking for where we're setting up a border. There we go. We're just going to go ahead and remove that. It's not going to let me. It is not going to let me. Okay. I suspect that's set border. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're only going to do this on awards because this will tell us immediately whether this is an option that's going to work. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. We'll just go ahead and go at this from a different direction. How is everybody's day going today? Well, I hope. Other than Bear leaving me little brown parcels in the middle of my dining room, I would say my day's been going pretty well. As I say, I'm looking forward to Chinese takeaway dinner. Nam, 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 nam. Very excited for that. Knight says that school is awesome with all the teachers and students gone for the summer. I hate students so much. Okay, so this is working, but as we can see, the middle is getting cut off. Okay, so while this is a neat idea, I don't think this is going to work for us. Because it's still taking up, it's still being taken up like so much more space than it did previously, and that is not a great move. Okay, what we are going to need to do instead then is revert all our changes, and that's okay. We don't mind that. Ooh, a bot. We haven't had a bot for a while. Go away, bot. So we've reverted all our changes back to what they were previously for IntelliJ. And we're going to go ahead and see about duplicating what we did previously with the log panels. So let's start off with something simple, and we'll go for relevant skills because that's going to hit a few different things. We're going to get rid of collapsible panel because we're not going to use that, unfortunately. It's just not going to work for what we need. It's a little bit asked. So when you say it's taking up too much room, is it the code or space in screen that's the problem? So basically the addition of these big chunky headers means that we are significantly increasing the amount of screen space any individual component takes up. And as a result, players with very small screens are suddenly going to be able to, well, all players really, but this particularly affect players with small screens. And what's going to happen is that they're not going to have as much information than they did previously, and people are going to complain about having to scroll down. Let's have a look. How are we doing? How are we doing with logs? And then we create an action listener. Okay, let's just snatch this. Could just reordering the tabs help? Not really. We've already got the so it's not the tab size, it's how much is being shown on the right hand side for the personnel panel, the character sheet as I call it. And we are very limited, or rather we need to have certain things there to ensure that they are visible, because there are certain things that the player always wants to be able to see. Injuries, for example. The skills, to use another example. Okay, I'm just looking at this. So this is the empty one. So this is going to be skills but hidden. Knight says, well, I of course like the idea of it, but I would also be just as happy if a column in biography of Flood that indicated the number of children they had or if parents was no. Yeah, so I see that, but right now I want to see if we can get it working. Because I think this would be a good addition. Just needs to see if we can finagle it. Okay, so let's go ahead and boot MekHQ, see if what we're doing is actually going to work. Because getting all this... Ook says, radical idea, leave in the game stuff and split the RP and log tech stuff into a separate panel tab. I would really, really like not to do that. I would really like not to do that. That may be, honestly, that may be the solution we need to go for. But I would really, really like not to have to do that. Because players will complain. If they have to click an extra tab to find out the information that they want, they will complain. Okay, but that didn't work. I think Ook's idea is what we're going to have to explore here. Okay, let's boot up MekHQ. I realized I didn't transfer to MekHQ a second ago. I do apologize, but let's boot up MekHQ and let's see what we can do to finagle this. Ook suggested we could merge it with the medical history dull screen. Not happening. Absolutely not happening. If like moving some of this information to a separate tab will generate complaints. Moving it to a whole separate dialogue, I will never hear the end of it. If players even know it exists. Because here's the thing. Me, you, anybody watching this channel knows this stuff exists. But we also have to look at it from the perspective of a player who has never picked up MekHQ before. They're not going to know that they need to go to a whole separate dialogue to see roleplay skills. They're just going to think those skills don't exist. So let's see here. I could see this working. So we have a logs tab. We have a mechanics tab. And we have a roleplay tab. But what goes in the roleplay tab? I guess about... I mean, hell, even if we just had a tab for personal logs and family. Yeah, that could work. Because if you imagine that... Yeah, no, this could actually work. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, I think this I think Ook's got a really, really good idea. I really think Ook has had a fantastic idea here. Okay, we're going to leave this open because I'm going to need to reference it multiple times. Now, the next issue that we're going to run into is, I'm not going to lie, this is a very old part of the code base, and so it is going to be a lot of work to get this done. But I think this could work. I think we've got an option here that's okay, so this is an area where AI is going to be better at this than I am. If I do this myself, there is going to be mistakes introduced because we're going to need to refactor all of this. And this is an area where the AI can do it quicker and more effective than I can. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to ChatGPT. We're using ChatGPT today, and we're just going to go ahead and ask it to reformat this into a J-tabbed pane. I'm just going to see what it does, because what I'm really interested in is what it specifically does. And the reason why I'm not showing what I'm doing in ChatGPT is just because it's got my government name, and it not only is it my dead name, it's I don't want that sort of private information getting out. Okay, it's telling me the message is too long. Fuck it. We'll just do it ourselves. We can do this ourselves. I'm not dealing with fucking ChatGPT. I need to remember how to do this precisely. Give me a second. Ah. Take care, Ook. Oh, it's literally just add tab. Okie dokie. So we add it to a panel, and then we add that panel to the tab. Okay, okay. So that means we need to have okay, we're going to do logs first. So where are our logs? I think this idea of Ooks has a lot of potential. We're going to use hard-coded strings for now. We're going to capitalize them to remind me later that I need to change that. Okay. Before we move on to any further on this, I'm going to very quickly step away from the computer. I won't be more than a couple of moments. And I am back. Okay. So we do need to sort out the XY, so that should be fine. That looks like it's all going to be good. We're not returning anything of value here, so that's fine. We do need to add log tab. And one last thing that we will need to do is we need to actually add Okay, let's see if this has worked. Radar says they just had to replace the left leg on a Stinger because a Griffin got a lucky shot. That is a very lucky Griffin. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't take a lot to knock a Stinger's legs off, but it's always nice to see when it actually happens, especially if it's on your side. But if it's not on your side, oh no. Okay, an illegal argument. Let's go and see what the illegal argument is. The pilot's also bedridden for 5 days. I mean, 5 days isn't a lot. I mean, Flash Fried, I think, is out for like 40 something. Knight says nothing really bugs me as they have a company of Warhammers. Until they have to chase a bunch of Shadowhawks and Griffins in a city, I start leveling buildings just so they couldn't hide behind the darn things. That's funny. So Path Strider, thank you so much for the subscription. I'm glad you're having a good time. And anybody else who chooses to subscribe, I really do appreciate it. Okay, so we're not seeing it here. I think what we might need to do is temporarily disable the other options, and then in theory that will make it appear. So I think right now it's it's very kind of you to say. Tom Sider says they're loving the streams. It's neat to see how you address everything. I'm really glad you're having a good time. But what we're actually going to do here now is we're gonna basically comment out this whole chunk of space. And the reason we're doing this is it's entirely possible there might be some conflicts, and that's why we're not seeing the tab panel. So we're just going to go and see if this resolves that, and if it is, we know we're working. We just need to move some more stuff into its composite tabs. Yeah, sorry for the squeak of my water bottle. I'm having to borrow one of my wife's screw top water bottles because all my water bottles didn't really follow me from our old place. We still got a whole bunch of stuff at the old place, including my coffee maker. But we make do. The new place is really, really nice. I really like where we've moved to. It's a really nice area. And the apartment's nice as well. Okay, so it's simply just not visible at all. Okie dokie. So that means we've missed something. So we're going to leave this commented out because we can always comment it at any time. Oh. This will be why. We are adding the wrong thing. Let's try that one more time. Back over to MekHQ. But yeah, I'm really glad that Oak came up with a suggestion because I think this is a really good move and solves a lot of problems. Okay, cool. So we're in the wrong place. But we do now have a tabbed pane. Okay, we can work with this. Okay. Okay, let's see if the tab plane's now in the right place. Basically, what happened is we didn't tell it where to go, but that's mostly because I didn't really care where it went. I just wanted it to be there. And now we can start fine-tuning it, making sure it's where it should be. Okay, cool. We now have logs in the right place. This lot isn't in the right place. But we're getting somewhere. What we're going to do now, we're going to see why this is organized like this instead of being downwards. This is very perplexing. Because everything looks like it should be organized 1, then 2, then 3, like in a tower, not horizontal. It'll be something really dumb. It always is. Okay, let's have a look at medals and awards. That's the ribbon box. Grid width, okay. Okay, that's what we're missing. I think I figured it out. I think I forgot to set in the grid bag layout. So I booted a second ago, but I'm going to reboot it because I think I spotted the issue. Twofold issue, really. One is that we didn't have grid width set, but the other is that we weren't assigning a grid bag layout, so we didn't know what layout to use and just defaulted in having them sequentially. Okay, so now we're showing them sequentially. This is what we're wanting. Well, obviously, we would prefer it to be a tad wider. But this is doing what we want it to do. Okay. And it looks like the issue is basically that this needs to fill up the whole space, which we should be able to do. If we go back into IntelliJ. In fact, if I have a look at awards, awards has what I need. Fill. There we go. Let's see if this does it. So what we're doing now is, I'm hoping we're telling the tab to expand its full length. In theory, that's what we're doing. We'll see if that actually works. And if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying yourself, please consider giving us a good old follow, or if you'd like, a subscribe if you're feeling particularly fancy. And if you're on YouTube, then hit the subscribe button, the bell, all the good stuff. Okay, so now it's stretching. That's good. But we now have this being like tinsy wincy, which is bad. But I think I can use the same thing to do what we need there. So heading back to IntelliJ. Wrong button. Initialize logs, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so it does say to fill both. Are they all set to both? What if you only tell them to do horizontal? Now, it might be we need to set the grid width to 2 as well, but I don't think we will. Now, this could all be a moot point once we bring in other components. That is also a possibility. So we're heading back into MekHQ. Okay, we're still getting Cincy Wince, which means it's being... What's happening is it's being constrained because it has nothing there. And it also seems that we're being set in the center when we really want it to be the left. Okay. Bear with me. I'm just going to see what ChatGPT can suggest, because the ChatGPT is pretty good when it comes to UI stuff. And I'm convinced there's a silly problem that we've got here, but I just can't see precisely what the issue is. And it's going to be something really dumb. Like we're going to have to change like one line. Yeah, no, it is a dumb thing by the looks of things. I forgot, it looks like I might have forgotten to set them with a weight. So let's try that. And yeah, I can see we're missing the weight here. There we go. The reason why we didn't need that previously is because it would have been inherited from earlier. Whereas now, it is not. Let's see what happens. Hum-diddly-dum. There's a few other things that we can do. So we've used an enhanced tab, which is something that Drake, the MekBay developer, introduced. And that also means it's the same type of tab that we have in the main UI, which means we can potentially have it so that we can reorder and then we can take out. But we'll see. We'll get the basic functionality working first. There we go. Fan-fiddly-tastic. Personnel logs, performance report, medical, silence. Brilliant. Okay, so that's logs done. Now let's do skills. And we'll make a branch first. Oh, we already have. Good job, E. Nope, it was logs. Okay, so that gives us logs. Now we're going to go ahead and do skills next, I think. No, we don't want it. We don't want it just to be skills. We'll figure out what we're going to call it in a second. What we need to do to start off with is I'm going to call it the mechanics tab for now. And I want mechanics to come up first. Okay, attributes we're going to want, and skills. Probably going to want other and injuries and prosthetics. In progression skills we're going to want, but we're not going to want biography. So this is basically all the goodies that we want in the mechanics tab. And then one of the cool things we do, we can just hover over this and we can just create a method. We shouldn't need more than grid 1. I may regret that, but I don't think we need more than grid 1. Loads of errors here, but that's okay. We're not too worried about them just yet. Okay, let's re-import these. Any more for any more? Nope. Okay. Okay, the last thing we need to do is we need to make sure we're adding it to the right tab. That is not correct. No, it is correct. Beg your pardon. It's always nice to see some progress. Okay, let's boot up MekHQ and see if the skills are now in a sexy skills tab and looking good. The good thing here is we're actually able to utilize pretty much a lot of the existing code, so we're not needing to reinvent the wheel, which is nice. We don't want to be in a situation where we have to just rewrite the entirety of a multi-thousand line block of code, which it would benefit from having gone through again, but we're just going to work with what we've got, really. Okay. There we have it. It's mechanics, personnel logs. Alrighty then. Yeah, no, this looks good. Now, there may be some scrolling if you need to, if you want to see like things like skills in training and stuff like that. I could reduce the scrolling further by taking away medals and rewards and putting them somewhere else, which I might, honestly. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I am noticing that personnel logs are being weird. But what we can do there, if we head back to IntelliJ, it's something for actually to solve a problem. So if I go back, and if I scroll down all to the bottom, here we go. We just need to add some glue. Okay, that's the logs. We also need to do the same to mechanics. And now we're just going to boot up MekHQ and just make sure that that is, in fact, working as intended. We don't want it to be weighted 2. Otherwise, it's going to take up so much space. But there we go. Grab myself some water while we're booting up. And I hope whatever you guys are doing right now is going well, and you're all having a good day. Let's see. Okay, that's all looking good. Personal logs still aren't being squashed to the top, though. It's not a huge issue, but it does look kind of gross. So we do want to solve it. Oh, it's because we're not adding it to the right panel. Schoolgirl error. There we go. I'm not going to double check that because that should absolutely work now. So with that out of the way, let's jump back and see what else we've got. Oh, are we getting the first IntelliJ crash of the day? At this point, I don't know if it is just IntelliJ or if it's just my computer. Taking the opportunity to stretch. But yeah, IntelliJ is locked up, so let's murder IntelliJ. We have just committed, so I'm not too worried about losing work for change. That's nice. We like not losing work. Just means we've got to boot it all up again. Are you folks looking forward to the Scritorious Bastards stream tomorrow? Hopefully we'll be able to rescue Loki after they were taken captive at the end of last week's episode. Radar says they are. Yeah, no, I am always super hyped for the Scritorious Bastards. I'm really, really interested to see where it's going. We will be staying on 51.0. We're not moving to 51.01 yet, just because it's just not in a stable enough situation, and it would just be a clusterfuck. Like right now, if I load the Scritorious Bastards into 51.01, it actually teleports us halfway across the galaxy immediately, which isn't right. So that's not ideal at all. Okay, so what's next? I kind of feel like we need a biographies tab. Okay, so for that, we're going to want the biography. We're going to want personality. Ooh, so Radar is actually working on some additions to our call signs system right now. And they say they're currently able to add around 111. Now, there's no guarantee all of them will be approved. But that's an extra chunk of skills call signs. Also looks like we missed a log. Whoopsie-doodles. So we need to go and add the scenario log. Here's the thing. Do we just add the biography and personality in kills? Yeah, I think... Yeah. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is we are going to roll back, and we're actually going to add a bunch of this stuff to the logs tab. And we're going to call personal logs, we're going to call that biography. There we go. Get those re-imported. And now we need to duplicate a bunch of the changes that we did previously. And we might move around some of this stuff, but for now we're just going to add them in. And now we can go back, and as soon as I get to it, there we go. Okay, so we've got biography. We have personality. We have kills, scenarios, personnel log, performance log, medical log, patient log, assignment log. I feel like assignment log should be a little bit higher. We'll just... How about we just do it all alphabetical order? Or do we just leave it like this? Okay, we'll just leave it like this. We'll just go with what we're working on. If people think that some of these should be in a different order, we can always change them around. But for now, we're just going to go with what's already in there. So let's go ahead and boot up MekHQ and see how it all looks. Red asked, how is Gunny not already a call sign? There's a few holes in there. Like we only have like 7,000 call signs. There's plenty more that could be added. And like I say, I would like one day to get us to 10,000 call signs. As for why Gunny isn't in there, I mean, Gunnery Sergeant isn't really a rank that exists in BattleTech, so that's probably why. But I do agree it should be added. I could see Gunny just being something that you refer to people as, regardless of rank, if they're in a senior position. Similar to how everybody becomes Sarge. There we go. Okay, that works fine. Yeah, no, I'm really fucking liking this. And I know Sarge also wasn't a call sign. I'm really embarrassed by that one. That one's a super obvious one. Okay, so mechanics, biography, and genealogy. We can add one last thing for genealogy. Okay, this is working at, like, this is a fantastic idea from Ook. Pressing wrong buttons. just adding a utility method here so that we don't have to pass in so much or duplicate so much code. And this is one of the ways that you can reduce the amount of code that's being produced, just by reducing it, like reducing the amount of duplicated code that you've got. Okay. We are in a really good position here. Here's the thing, we still need a so the genealogy one's fairly obvious, the biography. Let's just rename this to biography. So biography is fairly standard there, and genealogy's tab's fairly self-explanatory. We still need a name for the mechanics tab. I'm not really happy with just calling it the mechanics tab. So if anybody has any ideas on what we could call the mechanics tab, let me know them. I'm all ears. And while I wait to see if anybody's got any ideas, I'll carry on doing what I'm doing. I guess core profile. Maybe we just call it mechanics, honestly. But mechanics just feels so artificial, so I don't really like that. Profile. There we go. Profile, that'll do. There. Alrighty then. Here's the thing. Do we want... the one thing I am wondering is whether we want the awards to be in the biography tab rather than being on the top of everything. Because right now it takes up a lot of space. If anybody has any thoughts on whether we should put the awards in the biography tab, let me know. In fact, I'm going to bring it up and we'll just have a look, see what our options are. Is Lily suggest bio? I am inclined towards biography, yeah. Radar says, let's give it a try. Okie dokie. Let us save our work and then continue. Here's actually a good example of where using AI can actually be a detriment. So earlier you saw me go, okay, well, we'll just pass this to the AI and see what it comes up with. And it immediately shat the bed. So I could have spent who knows how long trying to get the AI to give me the answer that I need. Or I could just do it myself, which is what I ended up doing with and probably saved a bunch of time doing that way. Okay, so what we need to do here is we actually need to what we need to do is we need to move this inside of the biography tab. So come down to biography. And rather than doing it up there, we're actually going to introduce it here. Which does mean we need to add in the portrait panel. So JPanel portrait. So that it can update the portrait with the awards. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it looks. Okay, we're booting up MekHQ, and this is going to be the moment of truth. Let's go back to Klaus. Then we have the profile, the biography, and the genealogy. Now notice the biography is missing something. Klaus's awards are not showing at all now. Now the reason for that is I made an oopsie daisy and forgot to bind the awards to the right place. There we go. So now that should work. So let's go and have a look, see how well it looks. Because I know it means an extra click for anybody who wants to see the awards, but you do get the bars underneath the portrait, which also show the awards. And really, how often do you need to check how many medals a character has got? And I think that's what it really comes down to. Like, players like to see the bazillion awards that their characters have got, but can they get the same experience from just clicking on a tab? Radar says not often. If I'm checking, it's because I'm showing off. Exactly. And at that point, I don't think hitting a tab is too much of an ask. Yeah, there we go. We need to find someone that has a genealogy. There we go. Okay, so we do need to still do some work in the genealogy. It's kind of clunking it down to the bottom. But otherwise, that looks like it's in a good position. And Radar says it works great. Yeah, no, I am very happy with this. This looks absolutely fine. Zero complaints here. Okay, so we did spot that the genealogy, sorry to punch my microphone, genealogy tab isn't quite working correctly. So let's go and have a check we've done everything that we should in genealogy. So we are adding the glue to the right place. Let's just throw this at the AI, see what the AI can suggest. Because it might just be a case of I'm missing something stupid again. Okay, so AI is saying that the reason it's not working is because of the type. The type of constraints we're using. But if that is the case, why is it working elsewhere? Let's see here. So henchman was missing, and there's a few other man ones that are missing because I didn't want to. I tried to avoid genderized call signs as much as possible, and hench person just sounds like shit. I am open to reconsidering that though. Actually, I realized what the AI is talking out its ass, as it so often does. The reason why it isn't working is because we need to add the glue here, not here. But we can also go ahead and add it in both places. It's not going to cause any problems. Let's see if this works now. It's quite amusing as I wait for MekHQ to load. It's just as every now and then I glance over to check on my dogs, and it just periodically migrating around my bed. Let's see if this works. Aha, that's the case. Now we're really just breaking down just the bare minimum information here. That's nice. And this is now at the top. Perfect. There we go. That's immediately just a lot more readable. Let's go into MekHQ client options, campaign options, not client options. And let's just do one last thing. I just want to just have a look, see if we go to systems, time of war. Let's see how it looks if we display all the options. There we go. Yeah, no, I like this. I really, really like this. I think this looks so much cleaner. I am definitely open to people's thoughts, whether they prefer the tabbed view or not. Yeah, no, Radar says it's a glow up. Yeah, I agree. Now, there is something to be said about the potential of moving the logs out anyway, because there's so many, and I think that's what we're gonna do. So let's go back in, and we're just gonna make a dedicated logs panel like we did previously. Because it also means if you have someone who's written a really lengthy biography, we don't want it competing with space for the logs. Instead of logs, call it records. Yeah, no, we can do something like that. We're going to call it logs. Hi, Arya. You okay? Arya, my other cat, has come over to complain. She is also upset that she's not home where all her things are. Yeah, personnel record. I do think that actually works better. Hi, what do you want? Hi. Here. It's in the box. You can't also be in the box. There is an infinite supply of cardboard boxes in this household right now. You do not need to fight over one. Cats. Okay, so biography, we can just copy everything that we got in here. Because largely the biography in the personnel records are going to be identical. Okay. So all we're doing now is just removing stuff that we're going to have in the biography tab. Which is basically everything except our good old logs. Then we're going to need to go into the biography tab and remove all the stuff that's going into the logs. Which is going to be a lot. In fact, most of this is going to get trimmed away. But that's okay. Oh god. I don't know if you can hear my cats behind me. They're battling over one specific box because they both want the one box. When there are so many boxes in this household right now. Okay, let's boot up and see how it looks. Radar says, yeah, but it's a box one cat wants, so the other cat must have it now. Yeah. They get on pretty well, but because it's a new environment, they're needing to reestablish like the pecking order and who is the superior cat. Okay. So we've got profile, biography, which we need to add padding. Apparently I must have missed that. Genealogy, personnel record. Looks like personnel record might need padding. Okay. Let's just check our work. Ah, yeah, we're missing padding on awards. But that's not adding anything specific. There's our glue, so that should be working fine. Personal records, do we have glue? We do, and it's adding the right one. Hum-dum-dum-dum. Ooh, wrong button. It should be good. That's fine. We'll just go with this. It can always be tweaked later. So one final check through before we go ahead and push this. Waiting for it to clunk on through. We'll probably end the stream soon, honestly, just because I'm still recovering from the move and everything, and I'm starting to feel a little bit worn out. Plus, there's still a whole bunch of unpacking I need to do. And I'll be honest, I'd rather save my energy for tomorrow evening and Scotorious Bastards. I am concerned that we have a problem here. Let me fiddle very quickly. Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. There we go. So we're just adding a massive fake biography. Okay, cool. I was worried that this would make everything expand, but it doesn't look like it's doing that. So that is good. Let's check a couple of other characters. Okay. So that is done. We are, however, going to do one more thing before I close off for today. Now, hopefully this won't take too long. We're going to add a new personnel tab. Actually, I should boot MekHQ up because we're going to need to get a short video showing the work. But yeah, I'm not expecting this next one to take very long, which of course means it probably is probably gonna take forever. But I'm not expecting it to take long. And then once that's done, we'll probably close off. See, this is what I'm like when I don't have coffee. Need to get that sweet, sweet black nectar. Just pour it in my face hole. So what you can't see is I'm currently recording my screen. So that's that one. We need to close out of here because we're also going to need to take a video of the default version. So you're going into the void very briefly while I check out. And then we're going to launch. And while that is working, we are going to go over to MekHQ, which we haven't been here for a while. Oh, in fact, we haven't been here for so long that OBS has forgotten what Sarpari is. So let's go and remind it. There we go. Okay, let's throw up our video. And it looks like MekHQ is booted, so we're going to slip ourselves over to MekHQ. And we're going to take a quick video of the before, which we'll have to do using our checkpoint, which is ultimately identical to the other one, but we need to do it here because the other one's in the wrong version. Actually, no, we didn't. It's fine. Whatever. Boot up MekHQ again. Radar says moving takes a lot out of a person. Yeah, no, it really does. And we're having guests over tonight as well, so I want the house to look nice. Oh, MekHQ is taking a couple of moments to boot. There we are. So yeah, Scritorious Bastards tomorrow. We're going to stay in 51.0. Just because 51.01 is just in a really bad position right now. It's just it's kind of like it's having a lot of growing pains. Okay, that's our second video. So let's head back over to here and we can plonk it in. Oh, this seems to having a moment. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Let me just check to make sure Knight didn't create a... Collapsible character information. There was an RFE. Okay, let me... And this is an example of why RFEs and issue reports are so important, because I would never have thought to have done this had Knight not opened up an RFE. Okay, that looks good. Don't need this anymore. I was going to do one more thing, but I'll be honest, I think I'm done for today. I'm going to go do some chores and I might take a nap before I have to cook dinner. Oh wait, I don't have to cook dinner tonight because my wife's getting Chinese takeaway. Hooray. But yeah, my dogs need going out. I need a break. So we are going to close off the stream a little bit early today. I hope you all don't mind. But we will be back again tomorrow for the daytime stream. And then we will, of course, be back for the evening stream, the Scritorious Bastards, which I know you all are excited for as much as I. Hopefully we can finish this contract and send the Red Bastards packing once again. But until then, I am going to wish you all adieu. And I hope you have a fantastic evening. fantastic day. And otherwise, take care. Toodles!